Book and a Bev. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, A Book and a Bev. Cheers! Woo!
Yes.
We are starting a podcast. We are four lovely ladies who used to work together / do work together, and we just love books. So we decided to start a podcast because of that reason. Why not anything else? It's fine. We're learning with all of this. We don't really know what we're doing. So, come along this journey with us. We'll be growing as time goes on. You guys can give us some feedback as long as it's not too mean, because I'm fragile. Don't be a dick. We are fragile. So that's pretty much it. I guess we'll start off by introducing ourselves, going around the circle. My name is Georgia. My favorite genre is probably fantasy. I do like a little bit of everything, but my taste is definitely more on the smutty side. Definitely, I have some underlying issues. I definitely think that even though I'm drinking wine right now for the fairy wine because of a certain book, favorite alcohol is definitely Jack Daniels. So that's it. That's me. Cheers.
Georgia's going to be a happy camper when we get to straight spirits.
Oh,
That's for sure.
Should we finish a whole bottle?
Oh dear. Well, I'm Ellie. I am an avid romance fan. I love me a good book boyfriend. Just let me get lost in your eyes. Someone, please. I mean, I do love my beautiful, beautiful fiance, father of my children, but I do need some book romance in my life. I am a drinker of wine on an everyday basis. And at the moment, I have a lovely little Cobbs Hill Estate sparkling rosé winery, a little nod to fairy wine today, and it is delicious. So I highly recommend. Also, please sponsor us because free wine.
Please.
Love wine.
100%. I am Claire. I personally like a bit of crime novels. I've only just gotten back into reading, mainly for this series. But yeah, a bit of crime, bit of everything. This has definitely opened my eyes to a new genre that I am definitely interested in and will keep reading 100%. And I am drinking a lovely French sparkling wine.
Ooh, fancy. Claire bringing the culture over here. I'm Briony. I am a big lover of all things not on this earth. Started out with City of Bones, got rid of the incest, kept going, and now we're here with ACOTAR. I'm a huge Sarah J. Maas fan. I cry a lot, and basically I love fantasy and murder. So get that death and dick, and I'm currently drinking sparkling Moscato to be the fairy wine.
So good. Cheers to that. Cheers.
Exactly.
Dick and murder.
Cheers.
Well,
Dick and murder.
But I like dick and murder as well, but dick and death?
Yeah.
D's? All the D's.
You double D.
Double D.
Oh, double D.
Anyways. What
So
book
what
are we
book
reading?
are we reading?
Oh
Lois?
my God, Ellie, we are coordinating.
We are. Look at us. One brain. Two humans.
We are reading this week A Court of Thorns and Roses. Well, I should say we have read because we're on it. Look at these tabs.
It's done.
My book is so battered. She has been through a lot.
She's an old girl.
She needs to be retired.
So this book came out in 2015, didn't it?
Yep,
Mhm.
It did, and
Jeez,
it was her fourth book. Sarah J. Maas was still a little baby author at that time. Super
Bless her.
There you go. So I only got onto it this year, all thanks to Book Talk. Yeah, just stumbled across it. And I think I messaged you, Briony, to be like, have you heard of this series before? Because I actually kind of like it. And you're like, beach, please.
I was like,
Come on.
that is, I have it tattooed on my ankle.
It's here.
And I'd literally been waiting since 2015 for someone I know to read the book so I could talk to about it. And I was literally sobbing in my bed when you messaged me.
I just picture Briony just like, ah!
I know.
My partner's looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, but yes.
I know. It was just, it was such a moment. No, I came across it and I was like, oh, I've got a Kindle, I've got a newborn baby, like, let's just marry the two together and read while she sleeps. And started with ACOTAR and fell in love with it. This is the first book that I have read in such a long time that has actually immersed me into reading. I want to finish the book. I kept reading all of the chapters and staying up late to finish as much as I could. And it's the first book in such a long time to do it. And I think it's like what you said, Brian, I needed to be in another world. I needed a book boyfriend. Not that I really like this one, but we'll get to that. But yeah.
We might get to that. Like, I just tried to pull my shirt and there is no shirt to grab. I'm wearing a tank top in collarbone.
Yeah, look, I definitely think that I started off with like Colleen Hoover because I only got really back into reading in May, but I went balls deep. Like I just like already on like almost at 100 books this year and I started in May. It's been like 6 months. I'm like, Georgia, just relax a little bit. Take a breather. Get a social life.
Don't. Keep going.
Literally.
Keep going.
I 1,000% think that I don't know what it was about this book. I don't really know what it was about the series as a whole that just like hooked me into fantasy, but it does that with so many people. Like the people that I recommend it to, like my best friend, she's not into fantasy, but she read it and she just fell in love with it. Like it's such a gripping series. But like for my taste in particular, because obviously I'm more into like the smutty side of things.
Georgia's she's on the dick side of death and dick.
Yeah, she is. I don't mind a little bit of stabbing in the heart and then running around and then fucking in the snow, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, I think ACOTAR is very mild, like especially like A Court of Thorns and Roses is mild for smut. I think that Sarah wasn't as detailed in this book as she is in future books of the series. I think some of the wording that she uses makes my skin crawl, makes a part of my ovaries shrivel up and die, but I think in this series and in Throne of Glass, she kind of like the characters as well, they develop with their taste over time. So I think as the book series goes on, you kind of figure out like, okay, like Feyre, for example, she is mild in the beginning and then towards the end she's like not as, she's a little bit more like, grab me.
Bit of a skank.
Yeah.
And we love her for it.
Yeah. Exactly right.
She's doing the Lord's work there.
Yeah. Go for gold, girl. Go for gold. We're all here for
giving inspiration.
Exactly right.
I'm a little bit interested to see how they're going to adapt the book to the TV series. I think that's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little bit, because I'm like with the roaring and the.
Oh, well, she's with the roaring and the purring.
I think of like that TikTok where it's like, rawr.
Yes.
I think of. I'm like, oh. Yeah. Anyways.
And they seem to bare their teeth a lot, and I don't understand the dynamics of how you would do that. It's just like a weird. And I also found she does weird things like I sucked my lips into my mouth. Okay. So that was like Feyre's little nervous tendency at some point throughout the book. She sucked her lips into her mouth. I'm sorry, she couldn't have bit her lip or pursed her lips. No, she sucked them into her mouth, which I think we're all trying to do right now.
And simultaneously reminds me of like a cat's anus.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just forever just ruined for me. But here we are.
Oh shit.
I mean,
Oh God.
Sarah J Maas was one of my first like intros into like it was the level up from fade to black sex scenes into like, hello, I'ma just like pull my leg over and be like, come hither. And then she burns that bridge, and I'm happy to be on the journey with her. We were in real time together. It was quite nice.
Oh, so cute.
I love that.
I love that.
Yeah,
Although
no,
I
when
will say, sorry, you go, Claire.
No, you go. It's okay.
I was just going to say, sometimes some of the sex scenes are not appropriate to be rocking your baby to sleep whilst reading it. Mixed emotions.
I was listening to one in the work car. That was fun.
Dropping the lawyers off to court. Sorry about that.
By myself, thankfully.
But since we are talking, we have jumped right into talking about the book. We're all going to be, especially on this episode, covering a slightly different area as we're walking our way through the book. We're not going to give you like a chapter by chapter playthrough. We're just going to kind of give you the vibe. We know if you're here, chances are you have read it. We're not going to be like world-ending spoilers, but we also think you've read the book. So we're going to give you that like benefit of the doubt.
We're giving you that heads up
Exactly
now.
right.
Like, you know, if you haven't read it, consider reading it.
And then come back.
Yeah, because
We
we'll be
encourage you.
All right. On that note, should we do a quick like summary of what we're each going to talk about?
For sure.
Ellie, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, I can do so. So as I said, romance is my vibe. And the romance in this didn't quite hit the mark for me. And there is a good reason for that. I think Sarah J Maas did that quite intentionally, as we will come to find out. But our main sort of romance point of this book is between the main character, God bless her soul, Feyre, and Tamlin. And look, he has the personality of a wet sponge. I'm not here for him. She had more chemistry with the serial, which I'll get to. And as much as I wanted to really vibe with the romance, I really was there. I was doing the work, wasn't into it, and wouldn't kill myself for him like she tried to do many times. But in saying that, it was a good little hook to get you started. So we will delve into that.
For sure. Well, I'm kind of more so focusing on, as you can guess, the smutty side of things. I think, as I said before, Sarah J Maas is very light on the smut in this book. I think, you know, she kind of gets more in detailed as time goes on, but I also think that it doesn't hit the mark. It doesn't really get on my scale, this book. It's not on my smut scale. It's like way off to the side, you know. My smut scale is like, there's a level, and she's not on it. Not in this book anyway. It does get more detailed, but yeah, I think the detail in this book, it just wasn't really there for me smut wise. Again, probably one of my favorite, well, definitely one of my favorite fantasy series of all time, but just smut wise, didn't hit the mark. Didn't hit it.
Well, as I said, love me some death. And although this, like, ACOTAR was originally like pitched as the Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I've never seen Belle have to hustle this hard for her own goddamn life, and with a stupid as fuck family that does nothing. It just does my head in. But anyways, basically, Feyre is 19 when we pick up this book, and she spent her whole life, essentially, well, nearly all of it, having to provide for her older siblings and her dad. She has to hunt. She is self-trained. She had to teach herself how to swim by watching people and then jumping in a pond. Like, this woman is just like, what? And I love her, but I love that she is just, there's so much drive to her, and she is also so violent, and I love it. And that is basically what I'm here for. There's a lot of this book where it's still like a lot of romance and a lot of like, ooh, are we looking at each other? Hold my hand, but don't. And but there's still like a definite 2 or 3 portions in this book that I was like, honey has my heart, let's go.
She's such a sweet character. I literally, Feyre's just, she's deep in there. Like, just love her to death.
She's so strong as well. That's what I love about her. Like, she inspires me to, you know, speak what's on your mind and actually not be afraid of what the repercussions are of what you want to say just because you're a little girl. Like, I don't know. 100%. Fuck that shit. Say what you want. Get that penis.
Fuck the patriarchy. Get that dick.
Get the dick.
Exactly right.
We're all here for it.
Also, like,
we're screaming.
100%. Also, I love the fact that even like going on the strengths, even when she is like down, she just comes straight up and like ends up actually being better for her.
Yeah.
So you can't go wrong with that.
Bless her cotton socks. Bless her.
Feyre.
We love you.
Love you.
You do you, girl.
My brain was literally being like Father, Son, and House of Gucci, and I was like, I haven't even seen that movie yet. But
that's TikTok for you, though.
But it
God damn it.
Oh dear.
Well, I'm pretty much just focusing on like key points of the story. You know, I like something that keeps you really attracted to the storyline and really keeps you going. Like, as horrible as it sounds, I get bored easily, and it definitely didn't happen in this book. And I'm definitely going to be focusing on like key parts of it that really kept me like into it and like just giving me a full rundown, really.
Yes.
How exciting. Did you find that it started a little bit slow?
Yes, 100%. Like, I could still read it, but I definitely had to push a little bit. Mainly, it's horrible. It sounds like getting to know Feyre. I was just like, this is really cool, love her, but also like, I want to get something going. It was definitely more like a scenery based sort of thing.
I was just like,
the world building.
Yeah, I was just like
definitely
punching Nesta in the face like the whole you bitch! That's my favorite.
Exactly right. Oh my God, can we talk for a minute about her sisters? Because fuck me dead. I know there's probably like something coming down the line, but my God.
I know,
just,
like, I don't know if it's because like I'm the youngest sister in my family. I have 2 older sisters, and I was like, those fucking skanks. Those skanks. And I mean Nesta and Elaine trying to plant flowers when she's in poverty. We're not even going there. And then Nesta being like, I won't chop wood, but I want to marry a like woodcutter's son. Yeah. I was like, there's no logic there.
Literally.
But also the attitude.
Oh
yes. Yeah. And like
so
begging Feyre for money, like, I need a new coat and I need new boots. And she's like, bitch, please, my boots are falling apart and I'm out in the woods hunting for your asses all day, every day.
Doing everything.
And I'm not asking for anything. Exactly right. Oh, they grind my gears. But I have a theory about Elaine. Hear me out. I know everyone sort of thinks she's naive and maybe a little bit too sweet and cute, and the baby. She's not the baby of the family. That would be Feyre. No, I have a feeling that she is smarter than everyone gives her credit for, and she is finding the strong person in the family to leech to. So in that moment, it was Nesta, because they were getting all the good stuff, not having to do any of the work. And as the series continues, I wonder where she'll end up, who she's going to latch onto then when the power shifts.
I honestly, there was a theory that was going around about Elaine, like being like, you know, evil, you know?
Evil
I'm trying not to give away any spoilers for the other books. But like, you know, there's a rumor that, well, there was theories that possibly she was like evil. And I am like hanging on to that. I'm like, oh, I see it. I can feel it.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Wouldn't be opposed.
No, because that whole sweet little dumb innocent girl trope, can't stand it. Cannot stand it. She needs to be evil, because I would respect her for that.
Yeah.
Because at the moment she's she's below Nesta to me.
Yeah,
100%.
It's just
like, everyone has a dark
plant
side.
flowers. I'm like, dude, do something. Fucking do something,
Exactly
girl.
right. Own your shit. Plant some vegetables. Get on with yourself.
That's it. So should we get on like good old
Let's do it.
introducing the First, a
First
few
one.
interests that come into the book. The first real plots, you know. What's
Ooh.
happening?
Well, obviously, like every book, you meet the main character at the beginning. We've gone through that. Meet the family, all that stuff. You find out that they're poor, all that. That happens kind of there, kind of not, kind of like just getting through it because you know something's coming. But I really got dragged in at the point where obviously Feyre kills the wolf, because you're like, okay, this is a taste of something. This is something's going to happen from this. You don't know what necessarily, but the way they're like dragging it out and putting so much emphasis on it, you know something's going to happen from it. And I love that.
I also
That's
love
what
that
got me
Feyre is
to
like
it.
internally, she's like, nah, it's not a fate, but I'm definitely going to use my ash arrow and I'm going to be very careful. But no, it's not a fate. Not a fate.
It's just pure luck.
Yeah.
But like, but
Anyone
yeah,
else
so
notice that
obviously-
she was looking through the thorns to see the fairy?
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't actually notice that.
Oh,
Look at me, English classic.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Someone studied
Oh.
English in year 12.
Clearly, I did not.
I did, but not clearly very well.
No, I've just reread it about 1,000 times.
Yeah. Relatable.
Yeah. I mean, I've only read it the once, so going for it. Yeah, no, so obviously kills this wolf, turns out to be a fae, as Briony said. And then the next part, obviously, that really was a big thing was this beast, aka Tamlin, bursting into the house. And it was just like, you get that fear, you get that like excitement. And then she finally gets to see the world of Prithian.
Fuck yeah.
Love that.
Basically, chapters like 1 to 4, I'm like, okay, you're going somewhere. We're here for it.
Mm-hmm.
At that stage, I'd read like 3 other Sarah J. Maas books, and I was like, trust in the process. I was like, I know what you're doing. We're here.
For you, babe.
We're here.
We're
Okay,
getting there.
Lord, leave me. But then, like, once Tamlin appeared, I was like, oh, yes. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting somewhere.
Even like with
Mr.
Isaac,
Levin.
though, I was kind of like, are you attractive? Is this happening? Like,
Mr. Isaac Hale, love interest numero uno. Look, Isaac, for starters, he's described as simple, easy, and perhaps a bit awkward, as are all great loves of our life.
literally.
You know, they were nothing more than fuck buddies, let's be honest. And all they really did was have sex in a barn. And I just can't imagine having sex
The
in all
hay.
that hay, and it would be all prickly and you get all itchy. And like, I just really hope someone had an antihistamine on them at the time, because
I was about to say,
that
that is
just
some
sounds like a
strong
world of pain.
dermatitis. That is some
Mhm.
strong
Don't you reckon?
dermatitis.
That's just like begging for a UTI right there.
Literally.
And look, so itchy. And she obviously goes on to meet Tamlin, and I am not surprised she falls in love with him so fucking quickly, because Isaac didn't really do much to blow her mind there.
No, he did not.
No.
And I mean, do you guys remember the bit where she's talking about lying with Isaac and she's like, sometimes cruel? I was like, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I'm
their
sorry.
lovemaking was cruel.
It's like,
Look,
What are you
I'm
guys
not
doing
gonna
in
lie.
that barn?
I'm looking at you, Georgia, right now.
I'm like, look, there comes a time, like there's some books that I read and I'm like there, you know, some authors get real rapey and it's really bad. Like, I'm like, whoa. And it just kind of takes a vicious turn. Like, it's like, you know, there's a very fine line between like, okay, this is, if this was happening in real life, this is not going to be suitable. But like, at least with, like, I didn't think, like, he was just too awkward in my eyes to be like that kind of character. So I was like, when she was describing it, I was like, yeah, I imagine like, you know, maybe a quick spank, maybe a quick pull of the hair, maybe some slapping of the titties. I don't know, you know, something. Yeah.
Or maybe it was cruel because it was like a bit short-lived.
That's
Maybe.
that's another thing. Yeah.
That makes me
One-sided.
feel a lot better, imagining it as just flaccid dick. But
Yeah, couldn't get it up.
our girl's
But
going to get
could
her
you
needs
in a
met.
barn surrounded by hay? Exactly right.
Could
I mean,
you
how
Tricky
is it turn on?
circumstances.
Yeah.
100%.
I was going to say, just slap it on her face a bit. And then I was like, wait, this is not.
Roger, your kink is showing.
It's okay. Everything's fine. We're going on with the time. Everything's fine. Oh, dear.
Oh.
And then, of course, yeah, as Claire said, tampon comes in. Sorry, Tamlin.
Tamlin, Tamsin.
Oh.
Look,
Yeah.
I have gone to TikTok, my only form of information right now, to find some iconic descriptions of this man because I just couldn't do him justice. So we have one TikTok by the user CCat Reed, and she basically did a comparison of her height versus book boyfriends and whether or not she could take them in a bar fight. And she described Tamlin, because apparently he doesn't have like a confirmed height. It's not really discussed in the books or anything along those lines. But she reckons that he's, maybe 5'11", but says he's 6 foot. And I'm like, yeah.
Fucking true. 100%. Fuck that guy.
And he would gaslight you every second of the way. He's like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
I'm 6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Take your heels off, and then I'm taller. Fuck you, tampon.
Fuck you, Tim Tam.
Exactly right. And then I found someone else from, I think her name is Mandy Reeds on TikTok, and like some pretty on point content there. And she basically showed how she thought the ACOTAR characters would be like getting down in a nightclub and how they would, dance and after a few wines, some of the fairy wines. And she was straight up crawling along the ground like a fucking cat for Tamlin. And when you read the book and you see how much imagery Sarah puts in about growling and purring, and he like has these these little claws that he pops out when he's a bit mad. It's like, yeah, is Tamlin a house cat? I don't know.
Is that it? Is he a fucking house cat?
Well, he's hot and cold. He likes to be petted, but only when it's on his terms. I don't know if the shoe fits.
So fucking true. I love that. That's the best description. It's a house cat.
He's an overgrown house cat.
Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, that's literally all I have to say is ugh about Tamlin. I think he's, I think if we're talking about like the start of the book, like when we first meet him, I'm thinking like we're getting close to like just when you first see him, there's already the sexual tension. You can feel it because she fucking hates him. You're like, it's going to be enemies to lovers. You feel it in your bones.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, there was nothing there in the beginning of the book for me, obviously, because I'm talking about the smut. And like, don't get me wrong, Isaac, rolling the hay, whatever, but wasn't there. And I had this feeling at the beginning of the book that I was like, Tamlin's gonna fucking destroy her. Her poor little mortal body, and his claws and his growling and his and he's just walking around in his beast form like, what's up, like just and then like
big old pussycat here.
Yeah, big old pussycat. But yeah, I liked Tamlin up until he really became a love interest. That's when it kind of lost me. I was like, no. No. And it is kind of like, you want what you can't have, what you shouldn't have, and then when you are able to get it, you're like, oh no, I don't actually want that. I don't actually want that. No. That's kind of what it was like for me, because I was like, Isaac Hampner, and then it was like Tamlin, oh maybe, and then it was like, actually no, don't, no, not interested.
Too many red flags there, Mr. Tampon. Just retract those claws.
100%. Although reading it for the first time, like just going straight off the bat, I actually didn't hate Tamlin.
I was the same. Every time I read it, I was like, oh, hello.
As that love interest. I was in rose gold glasses myself. I loved him. Just going straight from the book. I was intrigued by him, and I was definitely like, I was all for him, 100%.
I
just couldn't get over the claws.
I was there for the beginning, but then it lost me. And I think it was because I'm very much like not the type of, I don't like to be controlled. I'm usually the controlling one. So I'm like, you can't tell me what to do, sir. Fuck you. I'm going to do exactly what you tell me not to do. I'm going to go do it. And I think that was where like I was like, that's what I mean. Like I liked him before he became like a love interest, if that makes sense. So like
definitely. He came with some red flags. He came with a few issues.
Small anger management red flags.
Just a little, just a tiny bit. And I don't know, I couldn't get over the claws for me. The claws were just a no-go. I'm sorry. Sir, just put those fucking bad boys away. Don't like pop a claw whenever you're a little bit mad. Like, again, like a fucking house cat.
And it's like, is it Wolverine or is it, yeah.
I always imagined his beast as like Beauty and the Beast animated, like that beast.
So did I.
And I imagined it being like the claws started between the knuckles, and then as he went more beastie, it actually kind of like merged with the finger. Like it became like a big hand.
Look, I'm into Tamlin in his beast form. Yeah, I can get down with that. I like a little bit of Gaston. I'm not okay with like the merging of the two. I don't want a human with claws. I'm not a Wolverine gal. Like,
Hugh Jackman does not do it for you.
Well, he does. He does. Bless God, little Huey.
Look, we would not be Australian if Hugh Jackman wasn't in some way touching some part of
Hugh
ourselves.
Jackman has had a big role in all of our lives. Exactly right. Wave that flag. But yeah, no. Tamlin with his claws when he's a high fae. Nah. Take it or leave it. Not my cup of tea.
Although take the sexual side out of it. Imagine those like back scratches. Just like if you have an itch, it's like,
I'm also like, don't scratch me too hard, but like just give it a little like,
Don't accidentally stab me, but like there's a little bit there.
Or do. I'm sorry. Depends what you're into.
All right. So then Feyre, she gets to Prithian and Tamlin takes her into the manor. And it's like all white and beautiful. And I wasn't really vibing the aesthetics in the manor. I liked the outside, not the inside. But here, that's just a metaphor for Tamlin. And then she meets Alice and Lucian. Well, Lucian first, and our beautiful foxy man.
I literally, from the get-go, like, I was just like, Lucian's going to be the love interest. Lucian needs to be the love interest because it was just, he was so just cruel. He was like, fuck you. But like, I also just loved him to death because, and like, I don't know, some of the fan art, I wish I had like references now because I don't. But like there's this fan art and oh my God, he just looks exactly how I pictured him, which is like sharp jaw, like the fox mask, like real cheeky. That's what I imagined him, like cheeky, like very sarcastic. That's what you want. That is what you want.
Exactly.
And that is,
they had the banter.
Yeah.
Exactly right. They had the
back and
giving
forth.
each other
I hate you, but do you hate me banter.
Exactly right. I understand why Tamlin was jealous. I would have been too.
Literally. I'm like, Lucian, you can come here every day, any day. Honestly, come get me. I'll be your boo. I'm here.
I will say, and then as well, they go and like they pluck her and they clean her. I did really, really notice the plucking sentiment there this time.
Yes, plucked her like a chicken. Okay.
And they try to put her in a dress, and she's like, no, I need my pants. Relatable, sweetie.
With my pants.
Need to be able to run.
Need to be able to fight.
And I love, like, Tamlin's straight up like, she's wearing pants because it's easier to kill us in pants. And I was like, you're not wrong.
True.
You're not mistaken.
She thought about it.
Literally. Red flags.
No. And then we get to, like, his first attempt of flattery. Like, Tamlin, he's trying to make the move. Like, all right, we've got this vibe going, Feyre. I've stolen you. You're my prisoner. I want to make love to you. Let me woo you into my bed. Your hair is clean.
Great movie style, by the way.
Like, come on. Like, you look better than before, and your hair is clean.
Is anyone
That's
else
what got him
imagining Lucian's on the side being like, "You're doing so good, buddy. You're doing
He's just turning around like, good,
Right, man.
you're doing great. You're doing great, sweetie.
Commenting about the hair.
Amazing.
Tell her she looks pretty. And it's like his whole purpose for the past 50 years, make someone fall in love with you. That's what you've got to do. Make her
come up with.
Yeah. And you're this chiseled, muscled, like strong fairy man, and it's like your hair's clean. Great.
For real.
Thanks, bud. Well done, tampon. Try again.
Well
and
done.
Tamlin, it was at this stage that Tamlin for me, like first read through, I was like, oh my God, he thinks her hair is clean. And now I'm like, oh my God, there you are, you fucking jar of mayonnaise. Absolutely goddamn nothing. Giving me nothing to work with.
That fucking kills me, you jar of mayonnaise.
He's absolutely like the whitest of white fucking bread. Like if he was in America, you know that man is like a conservative politician. He is like from money.
I was gonna say, Trump
he's
supporter.
like, I'm an ally while I like try to fight Roe. Like that's just my
Fucking
thoughts.
face, stupid face. Fuck.
But I remember loving it so much that I was like, oh my God, I think she's clean.
I think she's clean. I just can't. I think this is when I probably started hating him because there was a part of me that was just like, ooh. Because in my mind, don't get me wrong, I'm picturing Lucian in the background like, you're doing great, but also like he's sitting at the table like.
Yeah, he's like shell shocked.
He's like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on?
But then also bear in mind the context for this is that she's just killed their best mate. So it's like, why are you complimenting her to begin with?
Andress, buddy, R.I.P.
Yeah, may his soul rest in the cauldron, blessed heavens.
Nah,
Like,
I love like Feyre like spends the first couple of chapters when she's in Prithian being like, no, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna have this butter knife that I stole, and I'm gonna go back, and no one
gonna
like,
get me
it's gonna be
far.
fine because I got a butter knife.
Exactly. But then Tamlin has the audacity to have a go at her because she set up a snare on her first night. Like she had that little trap working and poor Alice fell into it. But she had that little trap because she's like, I need time to run away from these fuckers because they've literally stolen me in the middle of the night because I've killed their wolf mate.
And my family is fucking hopeless. They're gonna
Exactly
die.
right. I'm going to need to go because Elaine's evil and Nesta's just fucking weird and my dad's hopeless. Like, I've got to go back.
What's a girl gonna do?
He has an issue with that. So much of an issue, he pops a claw. He just goes,
claw.
like, come on, Tamlin, rein it in, retract those little claws, you little pussycat man. But that's just like the first of the red flags. Whenever he has an anger issue with Feyre, the claws come out. And it's quite a frequent occurrence. And to the point where she literally says she looked up at him in unabashed terror. Because that's what we all want in a romance, don't we, ladies? We want a little bit of flirtatious banter. We want a little bit of sexy times. We want a little bit of compliments, like your hair's clean, and a little bit of unabashed terror. Yeah.
Just to spice things up, you know?
Exactly.
A little sprinkle of it.
Yeah, just imagining Salt Bae being like, terror.
Yes, Salt Bae.
Stop. Everything's fine.
But also, like, while all this was happening, he had a mask on his face. Like, you couldn't even see half his face.
He's gonna have the
I know.
worst tan line, right?
Right?
Like 50 years of masked tan. Oh my God, Georgia, what service? How am I missing this man pouring you wine?
How drunk am I getting?
That
Oh my
is a
God,
bucket
okay.
and a
Oh
half.
my God, it just keeps going.
Thank you, my love.
Where
you for your
is
service.
myself?
Yeah, I feel like a peasant over here.
Sorry.
I think I need an Aiden in my
I sent a
life.
message being like, please bring green wine
Right.
bottle.
Oh,
Yeah, my man is off tending to the 6 children.
The
so-
babies. The babies. Okay.
Mama's drinking wine. Leave me alone.
Don't speak to me.
I will say from like early on, Alice holding down the fort, MVP,
Loved her.
the only woman that is trying to get Feyre to figure shit out.
Honestly, 90% of the
Yeah,
time
you
that
are.
she's actually in Prithian, they're not actually telling her jack shit. Like, she doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
No.
She's like, what? And they're like, don't do that. And she's like, why? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. It's like,
So I'm gonna do
They're
it
not
anyway.
gonna do it.
she's like, well, then I'm going to fucking do it then. Fuck you. Because, like, I would so be like that too. But, you know, like, Alice is the only one that is literally, like, giving her something to go from, because like you would be so you're in a whole new, like, what the fuck. And I know you can't take books too seriously when they're in, like, you know, we're talking about claws coming out of a man's, you know, his fingers like claws, but you know, like, in a way you're like, someone needs to tell this girl what the fuck is going on, because otherwise she's gonna lose her shit. Like, anyone would.
Even as a reader, like I was reading
Oh.
it going, what the fuck is happening? Like they're just talking in roundabouts here. I don't know
Yeah.
where the plot's going. Like it just felt really open and weird. And Tamlin's trying to be all like, oh, I've cut my hand, help me.
And
it's
then
like,
Feyre's
oh,
like,
fuck.
you know what? I know how to bandage hands.
I can do that for you, babe.
I can do
It's
that.
in my skill set.
And he's like, oh my God, you can do that. And she's like, yes. Oh my God.
And then like
My random note, my Zoom just like went, no, and everything disappeared and I freaked out for like 3 seconds.
bye Zoom, soz. So I think like the next kind of part of everything is kind of like, so obviously straps his hand. They get, you know, it's really, you can feel the sexual tension. You can feel it in your groin. And then it turns on to like, Feyre's like, I'm gonna go trap that fucking cereal. I'm gonna go trap that motherfucker. Because Lucian's like giving her little droplets of information.
Yeah.
And he's like sending
The
her off
one
on
thing
wild goose
Lucian's
chasing.
telling her is like, oh, you'd never be dumb enough to catch this. And she's
Literally,
like, hold
like,
my fucking
dangling
drink.
the fucking fish, like, come on, come get it.
But also boss bitch.
Oh, I love, so she's like, chapters like 14 to 15 for me were like, oh yes, babe, bro. So she's like using her skills and she's gonna trap the cereal. She goes to the kitchen, she grabs a chicken. It's a dead chicken. I'm hoping she didn't have to kill the chicken, but we don't get the context. She grabs a dead chicken. And like at this stage, we also know that she has a glamour on. She can't see half the fucking Supreme Court. So I'm just imagining that there's these people being like, oh my God, look at her go. What is she doing with that chicken? Is this a human thing? Like watching her just carry this chicken across the yard. But then, so she goes and she is like using her skills and she's like staging this dead chicken like it's tripped. And for some reason that just killed me. I was like, I love your work. You're like, nah, this like ancient creature is not, it's gonna be like, oh my God, look at this dumb chicken. It fell over. But the things I do love about her skills is like she is planning her route. She's going, okay, this is where I should set my trap. She's like retracing escape routes. She is learning her terrain. She is going hard, and I love that for her. And like she says this quote where she's like, shortcomings or no, I could still hunt, and the answers I needed were worth it. And I was like, yes, there we are.
Yeah.
So she finds like the whole thing about our little cereal tea sipping queen is that she loves a skinny birch tree. She loves it. So she's found one and she's like planned her whole route, and then she sits in the tree and she waits. And while she's waiting, I did love that her whole internal monologue is like, fuck, this is a lot of spring. It never ends. How do they deal with this? Wouldn't they like some other seasons?
Like, honestly, though.
That
Honestly. Feel that, though, on a personal level.
The pollen, the hay fever, I would not survive.
Oh.
It's just,
The hay
it's so
fever.
sickly sweet. Oh,
Yeah, so feel that.
But so while she's sitting there in her tree and she's going, fuck spring, this is a lot, our Suriel goes, you know what? And I fully believe that at this stage the Suriel was like, this should be entertaining. Oh, I'm trapped.
Literally, I so fucking feel that. I so feel that.
And so then she actually starts getting some fucking information from the Suriel. Like, she actually confirms, Tamlin is High Lord. We actually find out some things. And then we are rudely interrupted by probably the things that haunted my nightmares for the first half of this book. The Naga.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, how did you guys picture the Naga? Because they're like serpentine, humanoid, dark.
Oh, look, I just pictured Voldemort, really. Just Voldemort without a face and just like with the Tamlin claws sticking out.
Like
chasing her
naked
like this.
Voldemort?
Yeah.
Like, I pictured like something that was like wet, like literally I pictured, okay.
Yeah,
so
it was moist, right?
Yeah.
Of course you pictured something wet, Georgia. Of course you did.
But like I pictured like imagine Voldemort with no cloak, like no cloak, no clothes, naked as fuck,
Naked
but like has no penis. It's just and no vagina.
Like a Ken doll.
Like a
It's
Ken
just
doll.
straight. It's nothing. And like he's wet and he's got like a weird head, like a kind of like a fish head. Like that's what I pictured, and that just like is embedded in my brain. It's like running around like.
So our little huntress Honeybun is like, oh shit, this is a problem. And the Suriel was like, bitch, don't you leave me here. And fuck, this woman is like, I'm human. I'm gonna die. But you know what? I'm gonna save the Suriel first, and then I'm gonna start fighting my way out. And oh my God, I love her. This woman gives me
Feyre.
everything. She is 19 and she is like dodging these Naga. She's got one through the throat. It's down. She is like running. She's following her like escape route out. She is like left, right, dodge. It's great. She like hits one in the face with her bow. And I'm so proud of her. I'm like, you're doing great, sweetie. And then it ends very quickly. And she gets like, I'm imagining it's like an arm out. She runs into the arm. She is down. And she is getting her ass whooped. It's not looking great.
Bless her cotton socks.
She really tried.
She got
though.
coat hanged.
She got coat hanged. And then Tamlin, a
Swoops in.
sentient jar of fucking mayonnaise appears. And he's like, I got you, sweetie. I got you. And now here we are.
He is her knight in
The
shining
first,
armor.
like, real, like, yeah. Oh, I was like, oof. I love this bit. I love it.
No.
Like, in my brain, I was thinking like Tamlin, because he just, everything seemed like it was going like in his favor, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I was like, everything's going in his favor to win Feyre's heart. Like, you know, he comes and rescues her. I'm like, is he setting this shit up? Like, that's what my brain was going through because I wasn't 100% on board with him. Because once he started to become like a love interest, I was like, are you setting this shit up? Like, is this happening? Like, do you know that this is going on? But that's just because, like, I think I was in that mind frame of like, is this, you know, I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly.
It was just me.
No, I feel you there. Well, because then we sort of skip to him buying her all of the painting supplies because he's like, do you have any hobbies? And she's like, I paint, but I'm not very good.
And then you just picture her like painting like fucking stick figures and shit. Like, oh shit.
Like I'm manifesting it into existence that Feyre is a good painter. I might be the only one out there that is wishing for this. But I'm
like just like scribbles, and like when she's drawing animals, it's just like those shitty little dog ears and like just like they've got the waggy tail, and you're like, oh. And then everyone's like in the room, they're like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well done.
You know that that TikTok noise, and it's like, it's a good joke. It's a good joke.
It's a great joke, even.
That's how I feel about the whole Feyre painting
But that's just another thing that he does for her. He sets her up with her paint. She gets immersed in her painting again, and she's feeling herself. She's drawing all the roses in the spring court and this, that, and the next thing. But then she has this like epiphany where she's like, hang on. Oh, he's kind of like removed me from my family and effectively erased me. Like he's set, well, what we come to find out, he set her up, her whole family up with this whole fake story, and they're fine, they're thriving, they're doing so well without her. They don't need her.
They're doing so well without her.
Exactly right. So she's starting to thinking like, he's like my knight in shining armor over here. And she's just gone along with it, and she's abandoned her family and she's been forgotten about. And like, what's the point? Where's her existence at? Where's her independence? Where's her autonomy? She's just this little thing that sits in the room and paints pretty pictures. Ugh. And that's what he set up for her. And she has this epiphany, and I'm going, yes, you've lost your whole sense of purpose. Where's the person who trapped the cereal and fought the naga? Like, she's not there anymore. She's like just painting pretty pictures and feeling the mood. And I'm just like, no. And then all he has to do is kiss her fucking hand and say, like, if it grieves you, it grieves me. And she's like, I feel heat in my core. I want your pain. And
sorry, heat.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I remember being like a younger girl and being like, oh my gosh, that vanilla dick. And now I'm like, honey, there is more. You have potential.
Exactly. Well, it's puppy love, isn't it? Like when we all have that first love and we're infatuated with them, we mold ourselves into the person we think that they want to see. Like, yes, I love motorbikes. Like, what are you talking about? I'll watch racing with you. Like, of course I will. I'm such a cool girl. Fuck off. Seriously.
Fuck off.
Seriously. Come on. I will sit there and watch my Grey's Anatomy and drink my wine, and you can join me or you cannot join me. I don't care. I really could not give a fuck. But I'm not going to contort myself to fit your views of what a cool girl is. But no, that's Feyre right now. She's in that puppy love infatuation.
Yeah. And I mean,
love me some fairy pain.
That's right. We're here for the journey. We support you, honey. We're like your friends that are like, oh, that's so good. He's so nice, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're happy.
He's isolated you from all your friends and family, but you get that dick.
Literally.
Blink twice if you need out.
I just like, and you don't really, it comes when they're, what are they doing? I think they're like they're at like a pond. They're at that, like that, the lake situation.
Starlight Lake.
Yeah, that's it. And
that was fucking pretty.
You feel it, but like, again,
I was like, I had the benefit of this not being my first Sarah J. Maas rodeo, and I was like, I know not to trust the first love interest. I know better. But I was still like, oh, look at you with your little like naked eyes at like the Starlight Lake thingy. It's so cute.
Oh, yeah, she's wearing like an ivory like little negligee number, and she's getting in the water, and it's like, hoo.
You dirty bitch, Feyre! You dirty bitch!
Love that for you.
Love that.
But we have our first moment of actual flirtatious banter between the two of them at the Starlight Pond, where she actually says to him what the cereal told her, which was, he also said that you might like being brushed, and if I'm a clever girl, I might train you with treats.
Sorry, I don't even remember that.
I loved
and
it.
Again,
and Lucian sitting there on the side with his bottle of wine being like, that's some funny good shit.
That, yeah, okay.
Must I remind you of the house cat trope? He is a house cat and she is training him.
1000%. I see it all happening now.
I'm just picturing his beast form as like a giant tabby cat now. Like, that's it.
Literally.
Just Garfield.
Oh,
Lasagna.
Great.
Anyways,
I think what happens kind of like next, I think it's like kind of like leads on to like the calamine and everything like that.
Ooh,
So
sexy
the
times.
tension's building, and she's like, oh,
fucking night, bitch. This is where Georgia comes in. She's like, oh, you know, okay, so I think like one key part of this series is the calamine. Like, you know, it's that's the lead up. Like, that's when you hit the point where you're like, are they gonna fuck? Are they gonna fuck? Or is something gonna happen?
And she's like, I want some dick.
You're like, you know, basically this another part, like the start of the calamine is no one's telling her what the fuck's going on. She's like running around, she's like, hey, what's up? So like she's like, why am I gonna stay in my fucking room? You gonna tell me to stay in my room? I ain't doing that. So she goes out, of course. She meets the famous Rysand, Bless's beautiful cotton socks and his
I think my only notes for this scene were, there you are, I've been looking for you.
Oh my god, it just fucking but he's so mysterious, and that's like, and I think it's interesting, it makes the book interesting because you're like, because a part of me, even though I didn't really like Tamlin, I was still like, no, who is this random person who's this like dark mysterious stranger? Like, you know, you still need to be like, you know, I'm not in for Tamlin and you just yet, but like I could be, so like don't cut it off yet. But I was also like, ooh, dark mysterious stranger, what are you doing over there, darling?
The most beautiful man I've ever seen.
Literally, I was like, she's already replaced him. Fuck, sorry, tampon, you're done.
Felt like she didn't say that about you.
Ugly.
No.
Literally, you're ugly. But yeah, so I think pretty much like they tell her no. Lucian sees her because she ends up escaping from Reese. She's like, scary man. Lucian's like, the fuck are you doing out here? He told you not to be out here. And she's like, yeah, but he didn't tell me why, you know, like the fuck. And then he kind of explains a little bit to her. Basically, he's like, you know, Tamlin needs to fuck this person for the magic. And then she's like, oh. I don't like that idea anymore. Bless her little cotton socks. He's like, no, you need to go into your bedroom. She's like, okay, I'll do what I'm told. Goes in there, puts her snare up, whatever. She's ready. She's like sitting in there. Gets to TikTok in the morning. The drums slow down, right? The drums slow down. And she's like, nah, fuck this. Like, he's out fucking some chick. I'm going to go get a glass of water. I'm going to go down to the kitchen. Fuck you.
I'm going to get my cookies.
Exactly. She's like, I'm leaving. So she gets out of her room and she looks down the hallway. Tampon. Standing there like a beautiful Picasso painting. Like two giant arrows leading down to his face schlong.
It's my dick.
And she's like, oh shit. And like, you can tell, like, he's just fucked someone. And he literally, you can just tell, like, the sexual tension in that moment, you're like, oh fuck, oh shit, he's, oh no, and pins her up against the wall. And you're like, in this moment, you're like, yes. You're like, someone fuck someone, like, someone do something, okay? You're like, I don't care what's happening, someone put something in someone. Okay? And you know, there's all this sexual tension. They're like, you know, they're talking back and forth, they're whispering. She's like pretty much on the wall climaxing. She's like, okay,
this is my moment.
And then he just literally turns around and is just like, don't disobey me again. After like biting her, telling her how he would take her so gentle. He's like, I'll take you so gentle, even though that girl told me to take her hella rough. And you're like, nah, take her rough. Like, like he's like, I take you so gentle. I take such a long time with you. And she's like, oh fuck, oh shit. And you're like, yes. And then he's like, don't disobey me again. And then walks away. And you're like,
I'm not gonna lie, rereading this bit now, when like we obviously have a very particular stance on tampon, I was thinking of that fucking thing where it's like, hey little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
Yes.
Literally.
Just him being like, hey.
Also, like, getting bitten on the neck, my first thought isn't, oh, this is sexy, like, let's see where this can go. My first thought is, that's going to bruise. I'm going to need some arnica cream on that ASAP. Get me a cold compress, Like, I've got shit to do tomorrow. I can't have that showing. Like, sir, I respect where you're going with this. I know you're half drunk on magic and what the fuck, but also I'm fairly sure I said no at some point. Like, my body's saying yes, but my mind is saying no, and my actions are saying no, and you're continuing. So back the fuck up.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
but then also I see that she's I don't know, I get really troubled with the consent part of this. And I know I'm being all weird and lawyery right now, but it's sort of like, she literally said, get the fuck off of me. Like, I don't want this anymore. Please stop. And he continued. And I know he's drunk, but that's always the excuse, right? You know, like the women can drink something and that's why she gets abused, but the men can drink something and that's why he can get away with it. And I just think, like, the fuck you can, right? But then the next day, she goes to be like, hey, check out this fucking bruise you gave me, mate. Like, have a look at this.
Right?
That you've
She's so
given
strong.
me.
She's like, I was going to cover it up, but actually, no, you fucking did this.
And he goes,
shit.
if she can't obey my orders, I can't be responsible for my actions.
No.
It's good.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The audacity.
Exactly right. Have you heard of the Me Too movement, Tamlin? Come on, man. Get up with the times.
So we leave Tamlin, the tall,
Dickhead,
biting necks like he's in 2008 Twilight phase. And we jump right
in. He doesn't even fuck her in the end, so, like...
Doesn't even fuck her in the end.
Whatever, I don't even care.
And then we jump right in.
About it.
And now we're at solstice.
Oh.
And Feyre gets so drunk she forgets where her shoes are, which we've all been there.
We've all been there.
And this is where our drink comes in, guys. We are channeling the fairy wine.
Exactly. She has the fairy wine.
Oh.
I've had a few too many fairy wines.
Yes.
And I will not be able to parent effectively tomorrow, but that is okay.
We won't be able to work tomorrow, but that's all right.
It's fine. Now, so she loses her shoes. She's dancing around. She's leaping in front of the band. And, like, we have all been that girl.
Feyre, I also think... Felt you.
Yeah, we've all been Feyre.
We've all been Feyre. We've all been there. We've been vibing. We're like, it's a great time. But you know what we haven't done?
We haven't had the tampon playing the fiddle.
Like Sarah J. Maas, I love you, honey. I trust your work. And yet you were like, out of all of these sexy instruments I could pick, we're going to go with the fiddle. I have questions. Watch my fingers work. It's just, and he's sweating, and like normally I'd be like, oh, sweat. Oh, like articulate fingers doing some things, but it's a fiddle.
It's a fucking fiddle.
It's a fiddle.
Sarah,
it's hard to get aroused by a fiddle.
Right?
What's the nursery rhyme? Cat and a fiddle. Cat! I'm thinking.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Ellie has cracked the case, everyone.
Fucking hell.
It's a cat and a fiddle. This is the retelling Sarah J. Maas was trying to tell.
Oh my god. My brain is broken right now, but I am there. There's cats, there's fiddles, there's moon, night court. But she ends up kissing him this time. And it is such a beautiful kiss. She falls asleep straight afterwards. There's no sex. There's nothing that comes from it. It's just like a, you're beautiful.
Sleep.
But let me read you this quote. I was as unburdened as a piece of dandelion fluff as he was the wind that stirred me about this world. So gentle, sweet, and boring. Fucking hell. You're a piece of dandelion fluff. My 3-year-old son eats dandelions. Like, come on. I need something more.
Literally. And like, I was all for like Rhysand, like, because when Rhysand like gets to the spring court and he's like infiltrating, and he's all like, he's like, she has the most delicious thoughts about you, Tamlin. I'm like, oh fuck, she wants to fuck the shit out of him. But then like nothing really, you know, like it gets to The first sex scene, like I feel it, you know. I was like, yeah, like I'm all for it. Like, you know,
It was very lover, don't leave.
yeah, literally
And fuck.
the quote is, "Give me everything." He lunged, a beast freed of its tether.
The pussycat is out to play. But there is one point I want to make here, and this is a little bit of a spoiler for the next book. So if you haven't read the next books, just stop listening. She obviously has sex with more than people than just Tamlin, right? And in her next sex scenes, there's a lot of consent. Consent is very heavy in the next books, whether it is the Feyre and whoever she's sleeping with or whoever we're talking about. In this scene, Tamlin literally says to her, if we keep going, I won't be able to stop. I'm
That's when
sorry.
she's like, give me everything. I'm like, bitch.
Yeah, that's when she says, like, yeah, I can take it. But what if she gets to a point where she's like, actually, your peen's a bit too big and this is hurting me now?
Yeah, actually, you're
Like,
a fae and I'm a little, like, 19-year-old mortal girl, even though I'm going to save all the world, you know, like, I still got a mortal vagina.
Exactly right. Would he be able to remove himself?
Something I noticed on my last read through was while they're having the sex, and it's like not a full fade to black, but it's a semi fade to black, and it's literally my entire world constricted to the touch of his lips on my skin. Everything beyond them, beyond him, was a void of darkness and moonlight.
Foreshadowing.
I mean, those of us that know, we know. Sarah is setting up everything.
Just think of, like, after this point, obviously it gets to the point where he sends her back. He ends up being like, I'm in love with you, go away. Like, I need to protect you, you know, whatever. She goes away, comes back.
And we forget.
Next part of the book, after she's gone home.
Trials and all.
Trials are honestly my favourite part of the book, hands down. So obviously she goes home. Tamlin pushes her away, as Georgia said. But then she comes back fighting for her man. Questionable in itself, but you know, we'll get past that. And then she meets the one character that I feel like we actually haven't talked about that much. Amarantha.
He's stupid bitch.
I'm like, Amarantha, honey, Tamlin is not worth all of this effort.
No, hun, cut him off.
Amarantha needs therapy. And I mean, it could have been any other thing she's done that told me she needed therapy, but it's definitely the dick she's chosen. That is my main point.
So obviously she's fighting for Tamlin, and now she has a hatred for everything and is attempted to take over whole of Prithian. So Feyre comes back from the human realm, if we will, and tries to fight for her man. Again, questionable in itself. And we come to the trials in which Feyre has to fight for Tamlin, his love, fighting for Faekind as a thing, for all of their freedom.
Just under the mountain in general is just like a
under
fucking
as soon as she goes under the mountain. I mean, she is the literal living embodiment of that DW from Arthur meme where she's like, this sign would stop me if I could read. And then she just goes in. And
Full
then,
pelt.
trial one, she comes out and Amarantha's like, so, learnt a bit about you, learnt about your hunting. I'm going to push you into a mud maze with a giant worm. You're like, that's a lot. Okay. So she's running for her life. There's like a giant worm and it's like, whee! She's trying to run. She's had like 0.5 like seconds to take it all in, but she's going. But she's like running and she's trying to, like, she's calculating the distance between her and the worm. She's figuring it all out. She manages to lose him in this tiny bit of like mud wall and gets stuck. And my claustrophobia was like, oh, but then she realizes the worm is blind.
Key point.
And she's like, you know what, I can work with this. And she accidentally jumps into the worm's den, and then she has this weird moment where she's like, I'll just climb out, I'll make a ladder and I'll just climb out. And it's like, honey, where do you think they're just going to push you back in? But then she goes, have you ever had one shot, one opportunity to use everything you've ever wanted? Would you capture it? And she makes a fucking pit out of bone.
I just let it slip.
Go for it.
And she makes this pit out of the bones, and Reese is looking at her, and like we all know, for those of us who read book 2, again, why are you listening to this if you haven't read at least book 2? At least. And he's like, how's it, baby? Because she's made like a pit out of bones, and she literally goes and she lures this fucking worm in and impales it. I mean, she kind of breaks her own arm and has a bit of bone jumping out, but it's fine. And then she uses a remaining bit of bone after she's killed this beast, and she throws it like a fucking javelin at Amarantha.
That's my favourite bit, I think, of the entire book, is that moment. Like, her just, like, fucking ditching that at Amarantha. It's like, fuck you bitch. Like, that's what she says. I don't do sports. This is the sports. Like, if this was a sport, oh, my God, I'm there. I'm there.
Javelin's a sport, babe. It's you do that, the Olympics, but yes.
But, like, with
This
bone.
is fine. And Tamlin is just sitting there like, oh, babe.
Oh my
You
fucking
nothing.
God.
Nothing.
Okay? Like, okay, from a serious point of view, right? The entire time, I was screaming at Tamlin. I was like, you, what the fuck are you fucking doing? And he's like, no, like, I'm trying to keep her safe. Like, I'm pretending like I don't know her, you know? Like, I get, in a way, what, but also, what? And, like, when he does see her, he's like, quick, let's fuck in the barn. Let's fuck in the dark room. Let's go in
Make
here.
it magic out quickly for you.
Literally. And she's just like, okay, so my notes literally here are, she's literally giving her damn life here, and you're not going to say a damn word to her, but you better fuck her hard because she deserves it. You know what I mean? Like, she deserves a hard fucking. Like, if you're going to give her anything, you better give her that, bitch.
He
literally saw her with her arm poking, like her bone, poking through her arm, and he's like, meh.
I'm just not going to respond.
But cool job. Good job, man. Good job. No, it doesn't even say that. He's like, no, just dead silence. And even like, this is where like I really fucking hated Tamlin, because I was like, okay, I didn't really like Rhysand at this point. I was like, not sure, he's a bit too evil. But he at least was keeping her sane, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, if I was in
human contact.
Yeah, if I was in her position, I would be like, someone please talk to me. I'm in this cell on my own. I'm bleeding out. I'm dying. Like, you know, I just need someone to give me something. And he was there as a communication thing, because like, Lucian came in like once, twice, whatever, like briefly. And he was there.
He like fixed her broken nose, and then had the nerve to be pissed at her because she had to make the bargain with Rhys because she was fucking dying from an infection.
Literally. Like, all that stuff. Like, I think
my notes are literally like chapters 37 to 42. My only notes are Rhys. And then I've got trial 1 is the worm, trial 2 is pull the lever Kronk.
Literally pull the lever Kronk. I feel that though, because I think like when Rhysand comes into her, like, there's a part, right? There's a part where he licks her tear, right? And like, I'm like, honorable mention, right? Because there's times where Tamlin does step up, and like, I'm like, cool, smutty scene, like, let's get it. You try it. He's like pushing her up against the barn thing, and he's like taking off her clothes. He's like, fuck yeah, let's fuck. And I'm like, oh shit, all right, let's do it. Fuck yeah. And then doesn't end up happening, obviously. Rhysand ends up kissing her, and I'm like, oh, amazing. All right, I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get at this point. I'm like, you've held me on for too long, babe. And then Rhysand licks her tear. I'm all for it. I'm like, babe, Rhysand, you can lick my tears any day. Like, any day. Rhysand, any day.
Wide open.
Like, honestly.
What do I feel about him twisting her bone? Do you remember that bit? Where he's like trying to convince her to take part of the bargain, and he grabs her exposed bone in her, what would it be? Your humerus, if my year 10 anatomy class is coming back to me, twists it, and it's like, oh,
Look,
ouch.
He'd been lost for a while.
Look, I don't agree with the situation, but at the same
Don't.
time, when he licked her tear, I was very much in for it. I was like,
Georgia was like, "There's a tongue involved," and
I'm
that's
like-
what I need to know.
I'm like, this
I'm already
point,
in
at
there.
this point, and I'm like, do I come back up? No, I'm gonna stay down here. Like, I was like, you've had me. I'm just gonna let you go with that. Even though, like,
Look, I'm
Tamlin's like
still in
literally
love with him.
drops. Like, Tamlin, like you know, flicks a piece of dust off his jacket, and I'm like, no, I hate you. But, like, Rhysand could
Plays
like,
the fiddle.
Rhysand's like, I'm holding Lucian's mind in my hand. I'm touching your like jagged ass bone that's hanging out your arm, and I'm like, yeah.
you want to lick
What?
my tear?
Daddy.
I'm off. Yeah. Look. Trial 2, right? Trial 2. Trial 2. Let's go. I'm ready.
the leather
I've
crunk.
literally, like, I'm not even shitting my notes that pull the leather crunk. Like,
And someone who
as
can't
much as
read.
I love Feyre, my girl, obviously we find out that her illiteracy is a real problem in this moment. And I hate to know what is actually on the wall with the levers. If it's just like, this is the one.
Literally.
And yet she's just,
Pull the
but
liver crunk.
but at least Rhys starts showing his colours. And even with the bargain, like, he's standing in front of Amarantha and he's like, oh yeah, our bargain is that she'll spend like a week with me once a month for the rest of her life. Because it's going to be long.
Can we just say that is a period every girl wants to have? If part of your cycle is seeing recent for once a month, I'm there. I'm down.
Woman, I was
Yep.
about to fight you if you said rice.
Sorry. No, I know. I said Reese in my mind, but my mind says Ryzen. Don't know
Can
what
I just ask, for anyone out there from another country, I don't know if it's just an Australian thing, but we see RHYS and we know that's Reese. Reese.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not even a thing.
Not
People
rice.
are out here
rice is
saying,
Chinese
oh,
food, babe.
and it's a
Yeah.
good food. Like, I love
I know.
rice.
Yeah.
It's a
Are we
great
talking
food.
about basmati rice or jasmine rice or
Or-
brown rice or
It's
rice
so
or the quinoa
versatile,
mixed
and
in?
I genuinely would die on the hill for rice. But honestly, did no one read this and go, it's a bit odd talking about sexy rice?
Mm.
Did no one have
He's
that?
Reese.
If
He
you
is
call
Reese.
him rice, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
I'll tell you right now.
You are absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was our weird little segue.
Exactly. I think now we get kind of to the part where like the is it riddle? Is it like the little the riddle comes in
The
play?
riddle.
Oof.
Poor
I
Feyre.
do actually want to know what people originally thought, because I do have it here, which I'm happy to read out.
Read it.
But
Read
like,
it.
I do
read
want
it.
to. Okay, cool. There are those who think a lifetime, but never we meet. Sorry.
That wine
And
has
those
to
are
give in.
look, and those
Very
are pierced,
wide.
but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I seem to favour the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slow.
See,
What was everyone's thoughts on that?
I had no fucking idea. I was literally like, what? Because I was thinking in my head, like, sorry, Amarantha's just making up fucking riddles. She's just being a little silly bitch, like, trying to just scoop Feyre under the rug. Like, you're not going to know anything, soz. I'm actually
Why am I just imagining you being like, you're so silly?
I'm like, you're so silly. You're so stupid. What do you mean? No, I had no idea. I was just so, and it wasn't until like when like the last trial is happening that I was like, oh, I know what it is now. because it kind of all played out in the series of events, and then when you see the last trial, which we'll get into, I was like, oh, I know what the fucking thing. And I had to go back and reread the riddle to be like, oh, that's what it is. Because at the start, I was literally like, this bitch is making up riddles. She's just making up lines. She doesn't even know what she's saying.
Throwing words.
Oh, that's all I hear.
I did think the riddle was love.
See?
So did I.
No idea.
Very early on.
Yeah, I kind of did too. I was a bit like, I think that's love. But then Feyre was like, I think it's like a venomous spider.
I think it's
And I was like,
Good bit.
Literally me. I'm like, this bitch is talking about a venomous spider. She's so silly. So silly.
You know, my mind
Oh, dear.
automatically went to like, what did Amaranth, or what was she fighting for in the sense of what her sister didn't get, what she thought she was getting, but also what did Feyre want most, which is obviously Tamlin and his love.
Yes. What is the most toxic form of love you can imagine? That riddle.
Tamlin.
That riddle, Tamlin.
Mm.
Tampon. Fucking
It works.
Tampon. Because let's face it, if you actually want like real true love, you want a guy that doesn't bring the drama. You want a guy who will sit there with you and watch Grey's Anatomy and stroke your hair and tell you that you're beautiful. You want
It doesn't
that.
lock the door.
Yeah. You don't want someone who will
Doesn't lock
just
you in
sit
the
there and
house.
watch you expose your arm and throw a fucking bone at him. Like, no.
You want a guy that looks at you throwing that bone and goes, is that my best
That's
friend?
my girl.
Yeah. Did we just become best friends?
Can we do it again?
That final trial. Well, I mean, before we get to the final trial, we have the moment, which I feel like we've already kind of covered, which is the cupboard, cupboard fornicating-ish.
Look,
I could save you,
Touch
but
ups.
let's just get my dick wet. Just a minute.
Literally.
I'll just poke it in. You won't even know. It's fine.
Haven't said a word, but let's get me satisfied.
seriously,
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I think Tamlin he was so balls deep at that point. He was literally like, I just want to have sex with you. You are so hot. You are like, she's a strong female character.
I love
I think
Tamlin
we're
was
all
like,
in that
Reese, I
position,
love
like,
what you're
yeah,
doing
fuck
with
yeah,
her. I
Feyre.
love your style.
If you were a girl, we'd all be like, fuck yeah, you're so hot. We love you. Like, you know what I mean? That's exactly what we were doing.
Get your titties out.
Yeah, exactly. Get them titties out. Whack, 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 whack. But, like, you know, it gets to that point where you're like, all right, Tamlin, like, she's supposed to be the love of your life. You're just going to fuck her in a barn, like, or
You're not going to try and save her.
It's like, it's
At
almost
this stage,
she's
been under the ground for nearly 3 months.
Yeah. She's been risking her life for you. You're just like,
And it's like,
look, I'm not going to say a fucking word to you right now, except for when I leave and I'm going to tell you that I love you. But, like, I'm literally going to not say a word. I'm just going to try to have sex with you, which, like, sure, 3 months.
blue balls,
whatever. Like, I get it. Like, maybe you're like, fuck yeah. But at the same time, like, it doesn't seem like you're getting much anyway before she came in. So, like, hold yourself together.
Oh, yeah. Do we think he was fucking Amarantha?
No, I reckon he was really getting his socks off at the right every year.
There's a theory that Amarantha and Tamlin were mates.
I do. That theory is.
I could see that.
I don't hate that theory.
Mm.
Because let's think about it. No other courts do the great rite that we know of.
He's just a horny bastard.
All the ties. Anyway,
I do have a note about her undying loyalty to Tamlin. Like, she's literally killing herself to break his curse for him and save the fairy realm, because she's like, I'm just this little mere mortal and I love him and he's my undying love. But she literally does that with her family. She is killing herself to save her family. And she's doing the exact same thing with Tamlin. She just doesn't see the line where it's like, okay, I'm putting myself that step too far where it's actually becoming a bit of a burden to me, kind of not being the best thing for my personal self and my body, and I should take a step back. She's like, no, I'm going for it. I'm
Feyre's
going for it. I love them.
Suicide.
Yes, she's a martyr. She's just like, her loyalty is unquestionable. Whereas me, I don't have any brothers and sisters, so I don't really know how that whole situation works. But even if it was my beautiful fiance, I'm just like, if it comes to me breaking a bone and it's sticking out of my arm, I'd rather not. Really would rather not.
I'd pass on the bones.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that deeply. Yeah, I'd like love my brother to death. Would do most things for my brother, but like if like a bone was sticking out of my arm and they were like, look, you can walk out of here alive, or you can like, you know, risk your life to save him, I'd be like, look, love you to death.
Coming back with backup.
Yeah, like you got this, right? I believe in you.
You reap what you sow.
Yeah,
exactly right. Yeah. But if it were my children, then yes, I would die 1,000 times for them.
My notes on this final trial, like at this stage, Feyre is just, she's broken. She is done. She's, like you said, she's literally killing herself to save him and to save these people. And like later we know in detail, like when she's in book 2, talking to a particular human, that she was like, oh yeah, at this moment she's wanting to get through this trial when she realizes she has to kill these 3 innocent fae. She's like, okay, I'll kill myself at the end. And she's committed. She's like, I'll free them all and then I'll be done, because it's done. She
can't live with herself.
She can't live with herself. And there's literally my only notes for chapter 43, final trial, is his silence is killing her, and yet the mayonnaise remains on the shelf.
Elf on the shelf.
It's December when we're recording this, and the fucking elf on the shelf, who has been there for the last 15 chapters, just sitting there.
Let me show you Elf on the shelf. He is right here on the tractor. See him in the corner there? Oh my God. Elf on the shelf.
He just...
Fucking hell.
Tamlin is the blandest of bland white sauce, really.
No fighting him.
I hate his fucking guts. I'm drunk.
And he's watching this girl literally destroy herself, and he's just like, okay.
It's like, whatever, as long as I'm free.
Yeah.
As long as I can get my dick wet afterwards.
Literally, one of the quotes that I've come to at this point, because I'm kind of like reading along with us, is like Rhysand being like, if you're that desperate for release, you should have just asked me. Like, sorry. Just putting that out there to the world.
Does anyone know how to send an SOS to that court?
No. I think
carrying down the bond.
I think the whole last trial for Feyre you just know that it's going to fuck her up, and like the whole time it was happening, I was like, oh, for fuck, oh, like something's gonna happen, she's not going to make it out of here. I just knew that something like that was going to happen, because I was like, there's no way that she's going to be able to live with herself after the fact. That was my whole thing. I was like, she's not going to be able to live with herself, so she's either going to die or, you know, I just knew. Yeah, it was just the whole, it just fucking ripped my heart out. Like, oh.
And then at the very end, again, the only person that's fighting for her.
Oh my God, yes. How long does it fucking take to heal? I know he was stabbed in the heart. I get it. But it's like, come on.
His heart is also stone, and how much flesh is there between, like, here and your heart?
Exactly right.
How much?
We're not in the aorta, mate. Come on. I've watched enough medical dramas to know that we haven't penetrated your pericardium. You're fine. Snap back into that healing power, tampon.
But also, it's stone. Like, it would have just chipped at the most.
Literally, I'm like, isn't it just a paper cut?
Literally.
Exactly right. But he's like, no. Ouch. That really
It,
hurt.
like, explains Tamlin as a whole, literally, just right there.
But then he becomes angry cat, and he comes out with his claws, and he's like, "Arr!" and kills her. Kills Amarantha, not Feyre. Amarantha. Feyre's already
at this stage,
dead.
Feyre's already dead.
Feyre's already dead. And the only one that cares about it is Rhysand. Tamlin's like, fuck this bitch, kill Amarantha. And then Rhysand's like, Feyre! And no one notices. And then finally, when Tampon does notice, it's, you know, oh, fuck, this girl's just given her life. And that's what I feel like the whole thing was with Tamlin at the end. I was like, did he love her or was he just guilty? And then... Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It genuinely, a lot of, like, rereading, I'm like, I feel like Tamlin was like, oh, this is the woman I'm meant to love. I'm meant to feel a certain way here. But did he actually...
No.
Right. Did he actually feel that way?
No, because the first time I read through the book, and Alice comes to tell Feyre, like, there's this curse in place, and Amarantha's this evil bitch, and yada yada yada. Tamlin needs to have a human fall in love with him who has hate in her heart for Fae, and you get the whole point. When Feyre discovers that, I seriously thought she would have been like, oh my god, he's manipulated me to fall in love with him to break this curse. That was my point. And then she's like, oh, the poor thing. The poor thing. He's been through so much. Oh, the poor little darling. And it's like, no. He's been through nothing. He literally sent out his men to die so he could steal you.
Peak of my hatred for Tamlin was like that point. Was figuring out that he literally just didn't do it. All he had to do was fall in love. Literally. And I don't not think that he was in love. I think that he was so in love that it like literally was to his detriment. But I also think that I just I just don't think he was in it for the best reasons, and that's where the love went wrong for me. You know, I think love has to start off in the best interests of both parties, not just of, okay, well, she's going to rescue me from this, and this, and that's what's going to happen. And I think when she stabs, so to recap, there's 3 Fae that the final trial is 3 Fae that she needs to kill. That's right, Briony? Yeah. So 3 Fae. 3 Fae. And then the last one is Tamlin. So she kills the first 2, the last one's Tamlin. She figures out throughout all of her little scheming in her little brain, all of her picking up, because Feyre is a strong ass individual. Go women, we love women. And she figures out through remembering what people have said that he has a heart of stone. So she can stab him without actually killing him. And push comes to shove, obviously he ends up killing Amarantha after Feyre breaks the curse. Amarantha ends up killing Feyre because Feyre's neck ends up being broken. Soz bros, out. Amarantha's like, good try, but no cigar. Even though in the end, Feyre literally gets the
thing that frees everyone is she actually finally gets the riddle.
Yeah, she gets the riddle. She figures it out. She's like, I know what the riddle is. It's love. Because love is fucked up.
Fucking dumbasses.
Yeah, literally. Everyone's like
and
screaming
this is
like,
it's
love.
English education
like, no.
is important. This
exactly
is why
right,
poetry matters.
If you take anything from this podcast, English, just learn it a little bit.
Communication skills.
See, English, I didn't know it, so I'm with you all, readers. If you didn't know it, I didn't know it either. I was fucking useless because at the time I was so balls. I was like in on what was happening in the book. Like I was so hypnotized by like, okay, Feyre, Tamlin, Rhysand. I wasn't thinking about what the actual underlining story of what the story was about, which was like a toxic, like this is toxic, this is love. Love is shit, pretty much. That's what Amarantha's trying to say. Is like love is a bowl of crap.
Amarantha's like, my mate reject the bond, and now I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
I can't make him soup. There's no good
No
soup.
soup. No
Good
soup.
soup.
here.
But
Soup,
yeah,
no.
so I think that
Mhm.
whole scenario, it was just, yeah. I think
Mhm.
that's when I realized for reals that I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. This whole scenario ain't gonna work. Feyre's fucked after trying to kill. She's killed 2 innocent Fae. There is no way that her pure, beautiful soul will be able to withstand that kind of torment. So I knew from the get-go that this was fucked. So even though in the end Rhysand was the one that was like cheering for Feyre, that she was, as soon as she got her neck snapped, she was, he was the one that was screaming for her. Tamlin was too busy killing Amarantha. Yeah, the whole, it's just fucked. Like,
I think too, and obviously, like we talk about more in the second episode, obviously, but
Yeah.
like it comes down to a lot of English
Mhm.
possession.
We've had a lot of wine, Claire. It's okay.
We have full bottle. We've gone for it. But yeah, it comes down to a lot of possessiveness and like just picturing Feyre as a possession. I think we'll obviously talk about that more in episode 2, but like definitely a big part.
I feel like book
for
1
sure.
of ACOTAR leaves you with Feyre, who went in she went in as a broken human. She comes
She
out
ended as a broken bone.
Fae. And the last thing I want to comment on is, did you guys pick it up when Rhys saw Feyre?
oh my god! Okay, wait.
First read through, did you get it?
Before we get to that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Before we fucking get to that, the sex scenes after she comes out of the mountain.
Yes.
I just want to touch on that real quickly because she is so, even at this like next episode, Court of Mist and Fury, tune in. That the start of Mist and Fury is like this as well. Like it's very much like she's not in it. She is mentally not there. And he, like, one of these quotes is literally like, she basically didn't want him to take her gently anymore, because that was the whole thing from the beginning. From Calamine, he was like, I'll take you gently, I'll take you very long, gentle. And she's like, I don't want you to take me gently, fuck me hard. Which, all for, babe, go for gold. We all want to be fucked hard, but at the same time, like, it's clearly like a scream for help. Like, she is drowning in herself. And when that moment happens with Rhysand, right? When that moment when he's like, I have a bookmarked, babe, his eyes locked on mine, wide and wild, and his nostrils flared. Pure shock flashed across his features at whatever he saw on my face, and he stumbled back a step, actually stumbled. You know what I mean? Like,
I literally, I don't know if it's because I'd started to read, like, this was one of the first Fae books I'd read, but this was like, it was still like I'd read a couple before then, and I was like, oh my god, I know what this means.
Literally, that's exactly, like, I didn't even originally, like, this was the first fantasy book that I read, but I knew deep within my soul, I was like, oh, fuck, this is what this has all been leading up to. This is it. This is the moment of, like, Feyre's gonna realize that she has to figure shit out on her own, which is the best part to figure. I think because she's kind of been following Tamlin's lead. She's kind of been following what Tamlin has been saying, even though that's not who she is as like a person, as a character. And this person is trying to, lead her on her own journey and whatever, and it all kind of mashes up. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh no. And you know what's coming in the next book. You know what's coming, like, what's going to happen next? You know, her and Tamlin happily ever after. That's what you think. And you're like, there's so many things. There's so many contradicting things that are going to happen. And I'm so keen to discuss this.
Oh, yeah.
Favorite so
But
far.
we've all been there, haven't we? With that first love where we think that they're everything and they're our whole world and
100%.
will be the person they need in their life and we're their little trophy to show. And yeah, I've certainly been there before where I've been like, yeah, this is it. This is the person I'm going to be with forever.
Yeah.
And like, I'll be whoever they need me to be, and that's okay with me. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, that's
Don't wanna
wrong.
be that.
No, they play the fiddle. I'm not okay with that.
He's a ginger cat.
No, sorry. I prefer other things. I prefer things that make me my own self, and I don't have to kill myself to be like
I
that.
prefer tabbies.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
1000%.
So yeah.
1000%. I think that the book overall was, the smut was limited, right? From my personal point of view, where I'm coming from, smut was limited. I don't, as I said from the beginning, it doesn't make its way on my scale. It's a tear licking, finger sucking, someone just needs to fuck the shit out of Feyre kind of book. That's what my mind is, right? That's where I lead off from this point. I'm like, someone fuck Feyre, someone give her what she needs. Please, Lord. I think that she needs, like, from this point onwards, you know that what she needs is not Tamlin. Or at least it needs to be better than what he was in the bottom half of that book, you know? Yeah.
100%.
100%.
I feel like when we finished like book one, I felt like it was literally like, oh, the chessboard is set and I'm ready for like the big event now.
Yeah.
What's next?
I'm super keen to see what a human turned fairy can do.
Because it's literally her as all the High Lords, like a little part, all the High Lords' powers of
and
all
that
of
seems super intriguing to me. I'm like, this seems like a very, very promising way to get both my death fix and my dick fix. So I'm
Oh
happy.
yeah, we're there for the death and the dick.
The double D's. Praise Lord Jesus Christ.
Oh Jesus! Next episode, we're gonna need another bottle because this is done.
Yeah, look,
I'm gonna need
I had
two
a very
to
large
Monday
porridge. My second
Look,
glass.
we had strong goals going into this. We were like, you know what? It's going to be short. It's going to be this.
We went for it.
We're like 3 hours in at this point, guys. Like, we love you.
I'm a full bottle down.
I
finished
think
20 minutes ago.
So next episode is going to be this beautiful baby. Oh, sorry, my bookmarks are falling out because I'm busy marking it up for you. But this beautiful baby.
Stay down. We're good.
This beautiful baby.
Book 2.
She's drunk, all right. But book 2 is
She's
coming next episode. I think what we will be doing is similar to this episode. We're going to be marching through the general gist. We're probably going to be switching it up a little bit, you know, like maybe someone else will take on the violence, smart, the romance, the general plot. Like, we're going to kind of switch it up a bit. We're going to just kind of do whatever we feel like doing. Sorry, but you know, this is our podcast.
This podcast is a pleasure project.
Yeah, exactly.
Of ours.
So yeah, A Court of Mist and Fury will be next. That is what we'll be heading to. We're going to be going through majority of the series. I don't know whether we might stop at the end of Wings and Ruin and go to some individual books before we finish the series. We might. We don't really know. We're just going to do what we feel like doing. You guys can tag along with us. We're enjoying the ride. We're enjoying the books. We love Sarah Jane Maas and the ACOTAR series. Bless her cotton socks.
It's a good one.
But yeah, so you guys can join along and listen to us next week. Cheers to that.
Cheers to
I would
that.
cheers you, but
Let's
I'm
do it.
empty. So
Well, I'll
Me
just
too.
finish mine off then. All right, bye guys.